Good morning, Gabe. And the rules for multiplying them. So if we have the same sign, two positives and two negatives, and what our answer would look like there. And if they were different signs, so one positive, one negative, and what those signs would look like for our answer. Today we're going to move to dividing integers, sorry. So again, we're just working with those whole numbers. And with dividing integers, the rules are the same for what we use with multiplication. If the signs are the same, so two positives or two negatives, our answer is always going to be positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. So it could be a positive on top and a negative that we're dividing by, or a negative divided by a positive. Both of those would result in a negative answer. So let's look at a few problems and how we can model these to help us solve the problem. So the first one I have here is 3 divided by 3. Anytime you see a problem written like this, so fractions, this bar right here between them means we're going to divide. Okay. We could rewrite it as 3 divided by 3, okay, or 3 divided by 3. All of these things mean the same. Okay. So 3 divided by 3, what I want to know is, when I look at a division problem, what can I multiply 3 by in order to get 3? So I can rewrite it as a multiplication problem and try to solve for this missing number. So what can I multiply 3 by in order to get 3? So to rewrite that, 3 times some number equals 3. So 3 times what number equals 3? 1. Okay. So 3 divided by 3 equals 1. And to model this, remember we used the counters yesterday? So I have my 3 here. And here's one group. I know I need 3 groups because I'm dividing it into 3 groups. And I'm just going to start by moving 1 to each group until I'm done with all my counters. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. How many are in each group? There is 1. So there is further proof that 3 divided into 3 groups leaves me 1 in each group. Any questions about this? Okay. Let's look at a different problem then. Okay. What about, let's do -6 divided by 2. So if we were to write this as a multiplication problem, we are looking at what do I multiply 2 by in order to get -6. Okay. Okay. So 2 times some number equals -6. So what can we multiply 2 by in order to get -6? Yariel, why -3? Right. So you see how my numerator is a negative, but my denominator, I know we don't write the sign, it is a positive. So my signs are different. My answer is negative. So we know the answer is going to be a -3. Any questions? Okay. All right, let's do one more. -10 divided by -5. So how would you write this problem as a multiplication problem? What do you think? How would you rewrite this as multiplication? So -5 times some number equals -10. And what can we multiply -5 by in order to get -10? Now remember, we have a negative and a negative, and 2 negatives are always a positive, okay? So our answer is going to be a +2. Questions about this one? Or about how to rewrite as a multiplication problem? Okay. All right, so now there's one more thing I want to look at. Let's say we have the problem -1 divided by 2, or 1 divided by -2, or -1 divided by 2. What do you notice about these three problems? Okay, they all look like 1/2. What else do we notice? They all have negatives. Okay, what else? All right, let me ask this. For this first one, -1 divided by 2, is my answer going to be negative or positive? Okay, it is going to be a negative. It would be a 0.5. What about 1 divided by -2? Negative or positive? Nathan says negative again because we have a positive divided by a negative. What about the third one? All right, before I reveal the answer, what does, excuse me, what does negative mean when we're talking about negative? Remember with addition, we said that 5 minus -2, this told us we're doing the opposite of, right? That subtraction meant to do the opposite of here. So this negative is also telling us to do the opposite. Okay. So if we're doing the opposite of 1 divided by 2, what would my answer be? The opposite of 1 divided by 2. So what is 1 divided by 2? Anybody? Okay, so 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. What is the opposite of 0.5? So opposite of positive 0.5 would be negative. So 3 problems, all written, the same numbers, all written different ways, but our answers are all the same, okay? So one thing I want you to notice is that even if there's a negative outside the parentheses for a division problem, this negative is telling you to do the opposite of whatever answer you get inside the parentheses, okay? So if this was a negative in here, so a -1 divided by 2, we would do the opposite of -0.5, which would be positive 0.5, okay? So outside the parentheses means the opposite of the answer inside the parentheses. Does that make sense? Yes. Any questions about dividing integers? All right. Let's take a look at your assignments for today. All right, so assignment number 1, and I'm saying number 1 because you do have a couple today. Oh, that's not what I want to look at. So you have this dividing integers assignment. The first slide you're going to do work on, you can see the colored squares here. And what it wants you to see is that you're going to replace the question marks to write each one as a division problem. Okay, so where the blocks are, that is where your question mark is. Okay, or that is what you're trying to find. So the red square equals 3. So you need to figure out 2 times the purple square equals -6. How would you write this as a division problem? And what does the purple square equal? Okay, so we might think of following this model here on the first line to help us solve the rest. I'm looking for a sentence or two here on slide 3 to answer this question. This one wants you to write them as a fraction. So we're doing -14 divided by 7. What would that look like as a fraction? And then what do you notice about the 3 problems? This one wants you to drag from these problems down here all the equivalent expressions, so the ones that are the exact same as what you see here. Read the problem, answer the question, who is correct, why, and then you're going to complete the table below by changing these division problems to multiplication problems, and then you have 2 IXL you're going to do. So that is assignment 1. Assignment 2 is something a little fun. You're going to do an integer pixel art, and it tells you the very first thing you see in blue is to set the zoom to 75%. So up here where it says 100%, you would click the down arrow and change it to 75, and that allows you to see more of the screen. And then you're going to click on read the directions and click on the level 1 tab down here at the bottom. And you are going to evaluate all of these expressions. Some of them are addition, some are subtraction, division, multiplication. So everything we've done with integers so far. You type your answer in the box. And if you get it right, you will see some magic happen over here in the pixels. So I'm going to show you a different one so you can see what happens. So this is not the one you're doing. So I have -2 plus 7. And let's say that I type in my answer as 9. And you notice that nothing happens. But if I type in the correct answer, you can see some colors pop in that weren't there before. And whenever you solve all of these correctly, there is going to be a picture over here for you to see that is Halloween related. Okay. Any questions about either one of your assignments for today? So as you are working,